So recently, I read this one great piece by Alexandra Kollontai, who was a revolutionary. She worked together with Lenin, Stalin, Trotsky, and the likes. And she didn't write as extensively of any of the aforementioned people, but she nonetheless participated in a lot of the things that were happening during the revolution and right after. So, this one piece of work that I read is about love, and I haven't really looked much into the question of relationships under socialism or communism. So I was very curious to read her perspective. She gives a little bit of an overview of the development of the relationships between the sexes, the genders, and how feudalism promoted this very specific kind of weird love where you could love somebody quote unquote spiritually and fight for their favors, yet you would still be okay with like having sexual relationships with other people because you didn't really equate the two, and marriage didn't require love at all under feudalism, according to Kollontai. And it's very curious to see this little overview. I know there are some anthropological mishaps, there's some anthropological mistakes that she most likely made because the way she portrayed like earlier stages of relationships between the sexes and between people, she talked about how friendship was viewed as this ultimate ideal of a relationship, and I'm not exactly sure if we have enough evidence to back that up, but she used ancient Greek tragedies and ancient Greek stories to base this view on. But she talked about how during the revolution, the romantic love between people kind of didn't happen a lot because people were too busy fighting for the revolution, and it was kind of more pragmatic the way people approached relationships. Like, people still needed to have sex, so people did that, but they didn't necessarily form partnerships. And she talked about how after the Soviet Union already got established after the Civil War, this was the time for the romantic love to make an appearance again. And she talked about how it was necessary to examine the potential of romantic love. She didn't suggest necessarily a model of an ideal communist relationship, but she talked about the things that we still talk about nowadays. The things like, can people be happy in a monogamous relationship? Can people dedicate their entire life to just one person? Is it going to be a distraction for them? Is it selfish? Is it greedy? Etc., etc. So she basically applied the Marxist lens to the question of relationship, and I think this one article that she wrote is an incredibly great first step if you're interested in learning more of a perspective, of a Marxist-Leninist perspective on relationships and love. You can start with this article. I'm not sure if it's translated into English, but I will try looking for it. And if I find it, I'll put it in the description below. And if I don't find it, I'll just put the link of the Russian version in the description. And we can talk more about this. It is not something that I'm too curious about, but I am curious nonetheless. So you can let me know what you think, and let's keep this conversation going.